Hi, Fenville families. It's Mrs. DeRue again. Hey, we're back to read Hank Zipzer again. Niagara Falls, or does it? Yesterday we met Hank's grandpa, Papa Pete, and he took him to the bowling alley, McKelty's bowling alley, and he hired them to be magicians for his bowling party. I wonder how that will turn out. Let's find out. Chapter 6, page 42. Here we go. On the walk home, we couldn't stop coming up with names for our new magic business. When we left McKelty's, we thought the magic trio sounded really good. Smooth and simple. By the time we crossed the street, we had switched to something flashier, like the 3 magneteers, or magic tears. When we saw a neon sign in front of the all-night laundromat, we came up with Magic, open all night. By 83rd Street, Frankie was convinced we should be the mystical, magical dudes. By 82nd Street, Ashley was pushing for the disappearing act. By the time we reached 78th Street, we had decided we were Magic 3. Frankie thought we definitely should spell magic with a K because it looks cool. That was fine with me, since that's the way I thought it was spelled anyway. It felt so great to have a name and a plan. We'd figured we'd start our career at McKelty's Rollin' Bowl. Then we'd move on to kids' parties and get known all over the entire west side. Next, we'd take our show downtown. And finally, on to Madison Square Garden, where there would be thousands of fans chanting our name. Magic 3, Magic 3, Magic 3. We decided to start rehearsals right away. So we scheduled a kickoff meeting right after dinner. I was so excited about Magic 3 that I couldn't wait to go upstairs and tell my parents about it. I buzzed our apartment number. My sister Emily answered the intercom. "Who's there?" she asked. "Open sesame," I said in my magician assistant's voice. "Hank, is that you? Why do you sound so weird?" "The mighty Zengawi requests that you let him in. I gave my voice this really cool echo. Frankie and Ashley cracked up. "Mom," Emily yelled, "Hank's downstairs, and he thinks he's being funny, but he's not." "Just buzz him in, honey," I heard my mom say over the sound of the blender in the kitchen. "I'm letting you in," Emily said, "but if it were up to me, I'd leave you standing down there until you act normal." That's a strange thing to say coming from Emily, who is about as unnormal as a person can be. Frankie, Ashley, and I got into the elevator and pressed our floors. I live on 10, which is the top floor. Frankie lives on 6, and Ashley lives on 4. As we rode up, I imagined the 3 of us dressed in black capes and top hats. We'd all have mustaches. Ashley would look so funny in a mustache. The elevator stopped at her floor. I pushed the door open and held it with my foot. We all put out hands and placed them on top of one another's. "Magic 3 rules," we chanted. Ashley got out. Frankie and I headed for 6. "Watch this," said Frankie. He snapped his fingers and said, "Zengawi!" The elevator stopped and the door opened on his floor. I rode by myself up to 10. When I got out, I shoved my keys into my apartment door lock and made my entrance into the apartment. "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Zipzer family," I said, with a sweep of my imaginary cape. "Welcome to the most astounding show you will ever behold, featuring the amazing talents of Magic 3. I am one of them." I took a bow. No one said a word. My dog Cheerio ran up to me to say hello. At least someone in the family appreciated me. I took another bow. A really deep one. A really long one. "I'm going to my room until dinner," Emily said. "Ugh, this is too strange for me." My father was sitting in his boxers at the dining room table working a crossword puzzle. He was wearing a pair of glasses on top of his head. He does that sometimes, even though I'm pretty sure he doesn't have eyes up there. He looked at me like I was a short stranger. "You're late," he said. "We were with Papa Pete at McKelty's." "You should have called." "But I was with Papa Pete." not some stranger, I told him. You have to learn to be responsible, Hank, he answered back. Responsible? Well, I'm a small business owner. How much more responsible can you get? But I didn't tell my dad that. Sorry, Dad, I said. I'll call next time. That was probably a better response. My mom came in from the kitchen. I could tell she'd been cooking because her hair was pulled back with a headband. Her hair is blonde and curly, and when she wears it loose, bits of food she's cooking sometimes land in it. She has all kinds of things in her hair. Flour, chunks of chocolate chip cookie dough. Once, she even found a lima bean. Do you know what a lima bean is? One of those teeny tiny little green beans. Not a green bean, not a pea, but sometimes we grow them in elementary school. A lima bean. Remember that. The hairband is her new discovery. It's been working really well for her. Mom started to push my father's papers to the end of the dining room table. We eat at one end of the table, and his office is the other. He does something with computers. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I know it's pretty boring. How was your first day, my big fourth grader? My mom asked, kissing me on the cheek. Did you remember to bring home your assignment sheet? That would be a first, said Emily. The perfect. She came out of her bedroom carrying her iguana, Katrina, on her shoulder. Who names a lizard not Katrina, Catherine. Let's start that over. That would be a first, said Emily. The perfect. She came out of her bedroom carrying her iguana, Catherine, on her shoulder. Who names a lizard Catherine? Some people say that Emily and I look alike. Even though she's 15 months younger than me, we're almost the same size. We both have green eyes and dark hair that goes in a lot of different directions, like my dad's. But as far as I'm concerned, that's where the similarity ends. For one thing, I don't polish each fingernail a different color like Emily does. And for another, I don't have to use chapstick all the time because I lick my lips too much. And most important, I don't walk around with an iguana on my shoulder. On your shoulder. My sister Emily calls herself a reptile person. I call her a creepy reptile person. I mean, you're trying to enjoy your dinner and all of a sudden her iguana snaps its long tongue out and snatches a carrot off your plate. Ugh, how can a guy digest? And my parents don't even say anything. Not a word. My mom went back to the kitchen and brought out some soup for dinner. It was barley mushroom. I could tell it was Papa Pete's recipe because it smelled great. She dished everyone up a big bowl, took off her headband and apron, and sat down at the table. Who wants to share their day? Mom asked. She says this every night at dinner. The great thing is that she really wants to hear all about your day. I let Emily start. Who do you think got appointed eraser monitor? She said. Me. And our teacher, Miss Springflower, said I have the neatest penmanship she's ever seen. Penmanship's another name for handwriting. She was really impressed with my summer reading list. She said she's never met a not even third grader who could read 329-page book. I think I'm her favorite. And it's only the first day. The only thing that came to my mind was, could you barf? The iguana's elastic tongue shot out for some soup. She missed, and her tongue made the soup splash high out of the bowl, hitting my father smack in the eye. Emily, take that thing and put it back in your room, he said. Finally, he was reacting in a normal way. Well, this so-called thing is an iguana whose natural habitat is the Galapagos, Emily said. So, can we FedEx it back home, I asked. My father chuckled. Stanley, said Mom. Catherine is a member of the family, too. And what am I? Said Dad. A lowly fly on the wall? I love it when adults say things like that. Things that sort of make sense but really don't. Let's not spoil a nice dinner, my mom said. She turned her attention to me. I was crumbling a cracker into my soup. I like to float the pieces and watch them get soggy and eat them just before they sink. Hank, my mom said, it's your turn. Let's hear about your day. Oh, My teacher, Mrs. Adolph, is so strict, I began. We have to write a huge essay about what we did on our summer vacation. 5 whole paragraphs. No sooner were the words out of my mouth than I knew I had made a big mistake. My father wanted to know when it was due. My mother wanted to know when I was planning to start. Knowing me, they both suggested I begin tonight, on the first day of school. I want to start on it because you know how much I believe in getting an early start on things, I said with my fingers crossed. But tonight I had a very important meeting at the clubhouse at 7. Honey, you know how long it takes you to do your homework, said my mother. This is the first assignment of the year, added my father. You have to make a good impression on your teacher. But my business partners are counting on me, I pleaded. What business partners? My father asked, getting irritated. Now, Henry, my mother said. Uh-oh, the H word. Whenever she calls me Henry, I know it's all over. We talked about starting the school year off on the right foot. I know you want to do that, don't you? But I have 6 whole days to write it, I said. That's less than a paragraph a day. And this meeting could change my entire life and yours. That's enough, my father said. Right after dessert, you're going to march into your room, sit down at your desk, and start writing. I want 1 paragraph completed tonight. Just then, Catherine flipped out her disgusting tongue and snapped up the last piece of cracker that I'd been saving. This night was going nowhere fast. Poor Hank. On the very first day of school, he's already got to start on his homework. Well, we'll have to find out how it goes next time. Thanks for listening. Bye.